YouTube. What it do is your boy BENJI back balling. We're checking out some commentary from recently. Paul George making some comments on the Charlotte Hornets and the winning culture and whether or not he would actually go there in free agency. I gotta hear this out. Let's see.
Listen, if I'm a free agency, I'm not picking Charlotte just because there's no winning culture there alone. Right. Regardless, Charlotte is an amazing city.
Yes.
Would love to play for it because of the city. Like, I could see myself living there. But in terms of a basketball standpoint, I'm not going out. Like, my career over with if I go there.
First part of that statement, is he wrong? Is there a winning culture in Charlotte? I mean, we had to think about it. The teams that are in Charlotte. Not only do you have the Panthers, but you have the Hornets. These are two teams that are notorious for not getting far, if getting anywhere at all. Cam Newton had a year where the Panthers went all the way to the Super Bowl. What have the Hornets done? Since their inception, we've had a couple first-round exits. Other than that, I think winning culture has a lot more to do with a lot of things. I was having a discussion with my boy not long ago, too. He was talking about the teams that Paul George has been on. Let's take a look. Philly, Oklahoma City, Pacers, and Los Angeles Clippers. Those four teams I would not say are notorious for winning. They're not the Celtics or the Lakers. Storied franchises in that regard. But these are teams that each and every year have an expectation placed upon them to at least get to the playoffs. But when Paul George has got on a lot of these teams, they have been bad. First year in Indiana, they went out to the Bulls, 5 games. Second year, they were able to get to the second round. Then we saw a big jump in the lore of Paul George, the story of Paul George. He was able to take the Miami Heat to 7 games. Saw a similar battle the next season, where they went all the way again to the Eastern Conference Finals, but were beaten by the Miami Heat. So plenty expected a big jump from Paul George heading into the next couple of years. Unfortunately, he did have a major injury around that timeline, was able to return to getting bounced by the Raptors. Then they got bounced by Cleveland when LeBron James came back. Swept. Dude went to another conference. Lost first round, and we all remember that Damian Lillard crazy shot. Lost in 7 to Denver. There were some great battles between the Dallas Mavericks and the Clippers, I will say that. They lost to Phoenix, who eventually, I believe, went to the NBA Finals this season. Then he had a long hiatus and was able to return to the playoffs with the Clippers, and they were ultimately bounced by Dallas. 53 wins, 61 losses, 34 double-doubles, and 1 triple-double. Paul George is a really good basketball player. But if you had to make the argument, Paul George is not a player that you can build your franchise around anymore. A great additive, for sure. And I think that there's very few of these anyways, but he's not one of the guys that you can make an argument to, that you plug him into your team and it automatically makes you in finals contention. Because Paul George has not gotten to the finals yet. And again, that's not necessarily his own fault. Basketball is a 5v5 game, but I understand where he's coming from. But the argument my friend posed to me was, what winning teams has Paul George been on? I would argue that he hasn't been on teams that have won per se. But again, they've done well for themselves. They've gotten to the playoffs. They've gotten to Eastern Conference Finals. Paul George, as a player, is no slouch. But y'all have heard my criticisms about Charlotte before. That team is in another world, in another realm. One of the running jokes online is that it seems as if they don't even care about basketball. We see having them do is become rappers. Some of the decisions that the front office is making, ridiculous. They weren't able to capitalize off of the time that Jordan was, majority owner. And, dude, some of the draft picks that they were making while Jordan was owner, terrible. Some of the free agency moves they were able to make, terrible. It didn't seem like they were able to propose any solid offers to any available free agents either. And we just witnessed last season them try to get away with trading away their center while he was injured. Answer me this. What could Charlotte do to become a possible suiting place for free agents? What could they do to become more attractive to these free agents? It's a nice city. You have connections to Michael Jordan. But let's think about it. Think about the numbers that LaMelo was able to put up last season, yet he was not awarded an all-star roster spot. So if I'm a big-time player, you got to think about what good is Charlotte going to do for me? And then if you're players that have been able to come over to Charlotte from winning teams or from other scenarios, what has them performing on Charlotte been able to do for them in their career? At the end of the day, I think there's just a stigma that's just around the city of Charlotte. And it seems to be something that's evident in the way that they play, present themselves, and what we see from them in a day-to-day.
Is that Melo that has to kind of change the perspective, or is that more the front office making moves to kind of make that a landing destination? Because, I mean, they're going to keep going down this route of getting early draft picks, getting younger, to a point where LaMelo's going to have to get shipped. They're going to have to try and start over. Brandon Miller might have to be the face now. Like,
I don't think this is a bad take from PG. This is somebody who is a star in the NBA. He's just voicing his opinion on this. Why would somebody like Paul George go to Charlotte? What does he get out of going to Charlotte? Even if they were to offer him a crazy bag, what is the benefit of playing in Charlotte? You know you're playing for naught. You're not, like, you'd be lucky to even have playoff chances playing in Charlotte. All due respect. They're not building anything over there. They're not putting together pieces that fit in a puzzle. When you're talking about contention with some of the top teams in the NBA, there's nights that Charlotte can catch you slipping, for sure. But if you look at their record over the last couple of seasons, let's look at this. They were 19-63, 23% win percentage. Last in total points, 14th in the Eastern Conference. Well, they actually got worse because the season prior, they were 21-61 with a 26% winning percentage. They were 28th in total points, and they were 13th in the conference. The year before that, 27-55. Year before that, they were 43-39. They actually almost had a chance. They were 10th in the conference. But look at the route they're headed. They're going to give you a season or two where they can potentially give you an opportunity. Oh, they might make it. And they're just going to slouch right back. Look at that before. 33-39, 23-42, 39-43. Still not good enough to get into the playoffs. 36-46, 36-46, 48-34. You would think the seasons that they had, the 38-44s or the 48s and 34s, that would be a season where you're able to turn this around. That was the last year they had playoff potential. They lost in the playoffs, but at least they had made it. 33-49, and the last year being the Bobcats, they were 43-39, and were able to ink their way into the playoffs, but they got swept. So let's think about this. In the last 25 years, quarter of a century, the Hornets have won 13 playoff games in 25 years. Changing names, changing colors, changing rosters, changing coaches, changing ownership. It's done. I don't even like to get up here and be negative, but that's what it is. Since the inception of this team, they have 24 total playoff wins. Since a team was placed in Charlotte. I don't know. I don't know what it is. They've been in the East too. So people have likened the East to being the weaker conference. I just don't get it. I don't understand. They just cannot seem to figure it out. There's something in the air in Charlotte. There's just something in the air. Now things are looking up for them. They were able to pick up some solid picks. Able to make a couple moves in the preseason. So there's potential for Charlotte to have a couple guys that care about winning. Again, they continue to make the strange error to me about loading themselves up with guards that play the same position, but there's potential. Let me know what y'all think. Does Charlotte have a shot to win a ring within the next couple seasons? Can we see this being a destination for a big-time player anytime soon? Or is Paul George right? Drop in the comments below.